Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for the invitation.
I mean, I know how busy you are. You're still in the office.
Yeah.
It's 9 o'clock at your time, uh, in the evening, at weekends. I do really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Always, man. Always for you.
Let's get going. First, I want to start with my feelings about your accuracy and long-term endeavor in what you have been doing. I know you for 10 years, and I know that you have been in academia for 15 years straight
Yeah,
and
kind of.
doing a lot. Like, first and foremost, how can you stay so consistent?
Yeah, to be honest, I can't answer, but I can think of it. It's a it's a mission for me. Like, when I was kid as well, I was thinking like this because I had only one target in doing my whole life. It all started at, my uh, time during the mid school, probably. I knew that I'm gonna graduate from some university, and I knew that there is beyond of graduation, but I didn't know it. I mean, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know the name. So I was thinking that I should get all the diploma or certificates after graduating from the university, and then I can do whatever I want in science because I was always interested in science. So I think that's the basic reason. And still, the mission is ongoing. And I don't know it will be finished or not. Probably not because it's a long life mission. I don't know. It's like a mission for me. And of course, there's I mean, not always happy. There are drawbacks, trade offs because you are putting your time, effort, energy physically. I mean, so it consumes a lot. But at the end, if you get outputs of it, if you can extract the good things from your effort, I think it's worth it.
Thank you. Amazing. How can you keep the fire of your interest flickering still? I
Yeah,
mean, you, for such a long time, you have been in the same medium,
yeah,
and you, as long as I know, are delivering the high quality work that you are delivering in a very competitive medium, constantly requiring you to update your knowledge, staying up to date, and you cannot give yourself time to stay behind from your peers. How do you recuperate yourself? How do you keep yourself kicking?
yeah. I think for this one, I can answer like this. First, I don't have any competition with anyone but me. For real, I mean, I don't have any competition. So, by the way, thank you for thinking like this, delivering good work or results. I mean, not always the same. It might look like that. Of course, there are some good things, good sides, but not always. My energy, I think, comes from, again, I can say the mission. I'm calling it mission, but of course, it doesn't have to look like a mission. I mean, it's always being ambitious, learning new things. I think that's driving me for look anything I can be interested in, especially with technology and science. So I didn't have a good childhood time, so I had a escape point, like reading scientific books, and that started when he was at mid school. One of my best friends, he had a gift for me, a book, a yeah, an encyclopedia of scientific achievements, the best ones in the history. I mean, probably that book is now maybe something like 50 years old. I don't even remember its name. So I was reading that, and I want to dive in it all the time when I had free time after school and, enjoying with my family. And when I was alone, I was always keeping myself. reading that book. So I think it all started with that. And that energy, that spark at that time, I think still alive.
Amazing, amazing story. Um, who was your favorite scientist, or who still is, if any, from that encyclopedia, or maybe later when you got into science?
Yep, probably one of the famous physicists, Michael Faraday. His inventions and work on electromagnetism and perspectives on electrochemistry. And of course,
Why him?
why him? I don't know. I kind of in love with physics, although I'm not a graduate of physics. I mean, I wanted to have the chance to, study physics, but unfortunately, I didn't have. Probably because of physics, and I think he was the first one I knew from physics era. I mean, the one of the best scientists in history. And some people think that Tesla is not a academic scientific guy, but after Michael Faraday, probably I would say Tesla. His inventions, and I don't know if I'm not wrong, over 1,000 patents in the literature. I'm not sure. Probably that him as well.
You studied chemistry and
Yeah.
polymer science and technology.
Yes.
And right now you are interplaying between solar energy and chemistry, physics. How this exciting interplay goes on between these uh, basic science?
That's a very nice question and has many answers actually. Yeah, chemistry started with the before high school, I guess, because my high school was also a chemistry school. I mean, I didn't start chemistry in university. My high school was also a vacation high school, and I graduated from chemistry department in high school as well. Actually, I was one of the first graduates of that school. Yeah, I don't know how many they graduate right now, but I think there's still chemistry department in that high school. So yeah, I started with chemistry because I was hearing that, especially that book I was mentioning about him. You remember the book one of my best friends gave me? Yeah, I was reading chemistry stuff, and the book was saying, also physics part was saying, all things are made up of particles, and then technically particles are the same. I mean, if you think of subatomic particles, they're the same. Now, when you see it physically, nothing is the same. There are many things, variety of everything, and a big spectrum of anything. So I was thinking that, and then I kept myself diving in, searching chemistry, and then I met molecules, and that of course excited me, and then I really wanted to study chemistry, even if I didn't know that the chemistry is a big era and there are many big scientific achievements. So I was diving in it, and then I heard that high school, and I heard that there is a chemistry department, and then why not now? And then I started chemistry, graduated from that high school. Again, in the university, I started studying chemistry. And then it was my first year. There was a general chemistry class, 105. There were two general chemistry classes, 105 and 106. In 106, I met my advisor, master's and PhD advisor, and he was talking about polymers, and which really covered a little bit of the curriculum of that course.
By
So
the way, hats off to Professor Levan Topar. He's
yeah,
amazing, amazing
he
professor.
is an amazing guy.
He is,
Yeah,
truly is.
exactly. And then I took a course 106 from Levent Topar. And then at the same day, by the way, he was talking about the polymers in the class. After class is finished, I found myself in the library. You know that library as well. And I was searching polymer books. What's polymer? Okay, I know it's macro. molecule, there are macromolecules, polymers. I know there are many molecules in it, but how? I mean, for example, think a molecule, and you keep many A together, gather them, and still there are it's A made of A's, but the single A is, let's say, liquid, and many A's are solid. How? Still it's A. And then I was starting searching problems. I found a tiny book and I started reading it. And then I searched the professor, what he was doing and what he was interested. And I across many news, by the way, through the internet. And then that day, I decided that I need to work with this professor. I need to focus on polymers. And then after roughly 5 or 6 years, I'm not sure, many years passed, I started my master with him and then kept doing research and then started PhD and then graduated. Almost 9 years I worked with him, still in touch, of course. And he's still working in his lab, 70 years old.
Wow. Wow. Educate me about your transition to solar industry.
Solar industry, actually, it started in my master's. I'm an organic chemist by education. I was doing synthesis processes all the time during my master's and PhD. And then I crossed one of his labs. Basically, they were fabricating organic photovoltaics and utilizing the molecules the students were synthesizing in his labs. And then I found myself in that lab as well. So I started fabricating and then kind of saw the potential of renewable energy. And then at the same time, I was doing my synthesis procedures and then fabricating solar cells. And then I met perovskite solar cells at the end of my PhD. Actually, my dissertation covers a little part of perovskite solar cells as well. And then I shifted my career actually to renewable energy. Now my works focus on renewable energy, especially perovskite solar cells, but still gathering chemistry, polymers, physics together. It's fantastic to me. Multidisciplinary.
What most excites you about this?
For specifically for perovskites or organic solar cells.
Just for renewable energy and specifically solar.
Yeah, the thing is that eventually I believe that all energy will be harvested from sun. I mean, we have to do this. So I want to see it actually. And I think we are close. I don't know. We will have enough time to see it. Maybe our children will see. This is my motivation and I keep working on it.
I know that you, the same as I am, are interested and a fan of Elon Musk.
Of course.
How he had a role, maybe if he had, in you deciding to work on renewable energies and specifically solar energy.
Yeah, his innovative vision actually. I mean, he a he's investing in everything almost, especially technology related. Maybe sometime for fun, he had a company. I think he was producing water guns or fire guns. I'm not sure. So he can gather these things, fun and science, and he kind of doesn't have any boundaries. So he keeps doing what he knows the best, especially in technology. I always, interested in his life. He launched 2 or 3 companies before Tesla or SpaceX. I'm not sure. And then he kept going. And one of the best things about Elon Musk for me is that I was talking about Elon Musk. I was telling his story to my friends. I mean, anyone I can see. But at that time, nobody knew about Elon Musk. That was funny. I mean, how can you see this guy? How don't you know this guy? And then And then it all started with Tesla cars and SpaceX, of course. Now there's no one, literally, literally no one who doesn't know him. Still, I'm interested in his work and research.
To bring it back to renewable energy and
Mhm.
getting away from fossil fuel, I mean, Tesla by far is creating the largest number of EVs in the world,
Yeah.
followed by BYD, but with a huge margin. What is your take? What is your idea about cutting off the fossil fuel, going after renewable energy, and specifically using electronic vehicles?
Mhm.
And then I will come with a follow-up question.
Yeah. I don't think we are gonna stop using fuel oil, by the way. At some point, we still will need it. But of course, for renewable innovations, cars, of course, must be run with electricity. That's my point.
Mhm.
And BYD, as you say, probably is the second largest company fabricating those cars. And it was previously, I think, if I'm not wrong, battery producer. And then they started producing cars as well. So my vision is that everything, vehicles, especially, of course, will run with electricity. And I think we need to finish it at some point. But the main idea will be that how to stabilize and how to make batteries durable. For example, I don't know how Tesla guarantees the life of batteries, maybe 10 years, as far as I know. And then we have to, make them durable and utilize electricity, especially from solar energy, of course, for everything. And I don't know, at some point, solar energy, let's say solar cells, will merge with vehicles as well. Actually, there are some projects, you can't cover all the car with solar cells, of course, but, you know, the battery inside a regular car, I think it's 12 volts and I'm not sure, 5 amperes. Yeah, solar cells can sustain that energy with sun, but of course, it's not going to be efficient as the batteries, right?
You said that most probably we are not going to cut off on fossil fuels.
Yeah,
Elon owns Tesla. He is the founder.
yeah,
And he, at the same time, while being, I believe, the greenest person on earth when
hmm
it comes to green energy and
yeah.
production, at the same time, he is the founder and owner of SpaceX. So,
You know where
along
you're
with
going right now.
along with electronic vehicles, we
Yeah,
also have other type of vehicles that
yeah,
they cannot, by any stretch of imagination, using electricity
yeah.
or any sort of electronic or magnetic force to get launched. How do you think about these two, SpaceX and Tesla, one totally green and one most probably by far the most uh, having one of the greatest CO2 emission on Earth when it comes to. I mean, I checked the numbers once, and um, each time that the Starship is launched, it emits 70,000 metric tons of CO2
Yeah.
into atmosphere, which is 16,000 of the 16,000 times of the CO2 that a normal car emits in a year.
In a year, right?
In a year.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this?
Let's talk about his visions. He wants to terraform Mars, right? And based on our knowledge, human knowledge, let's say scientific, technological, social, everything, there will be an end, right, for these planets. So eventually we have to leave the planet. I mean, let's think in this context. And to do this, for now, the best technology is fuel, unfortunately. You can't rise a rocket with electricity right now. I don't know if we will achieve or not. Somehow you're transitioning from fuel oil based energy sources to renewable energy sources. Okay, you are doing that for this planet, and you are also developing technology for our next planet, maybe. You can't guess it. And there are payload of those, vehicles. And you said 16,000 times. It's huge. And for 1 year, right?
Yes.
It's huge. So for now, unfortunately, there is no any alternative technology to power those rockets. Even, a smaller one, think a smaller rocket compared to Falcon 9, let's say.
Yeah.
Still, you will consume a lot of oil. And electricity right now is not that efficient to do it. And somehow we have to merge it currently in this current status. We have to merge that. I mean, we have to use both energy sources. Of course, I and you, I know everyone wants to get rid of fuel oils, but it's not possible.
And let's not forget that by using reusable rockets,
Yeah, exactly.
he just revolutionized the number of times that
Yeah.
rockets are flying to space
Yeah.
each year. I mean, if you check the numbers between 2018 and 2024, I mean, it's staggering. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. And I believe, I mean, even when I think about it, I have the hair on my neck rising. Nothing is, from my account, is more exciting than the reusable rocket coming back and landing
Yeah.
before on Earth and now getting inside the chopsticks
Yeah.
since the last launch and land. It's amazing.
Yeah. So you see, recycling in carbon emissive technology. You also have to do this, of course, because
Hmm.
still you are decreasing the consumables and expenditures. It's a fantastic technology. You can reuse them. It's also recycling. And I don't know, somehow, okay, we are shifting from fuel-based cars to electric. But have you ever thought the process of production of those cars, for example?
Hmm.
We are still emitting carbon dioxide a lot.
During the production.
Yeah, of electricity cars. A lot. It's ironic, I know, but it works, of course. And somehow you are decreasing the consumption of fuels.
You talked about Mars mission.
Yeah, that's exciting.
How excited are you about it? What do you think about it? Do you find it realistic? Do you think we will ever go and live on Mars? Do you find the narrative by SpaceX about occupying Mars an appealing narrative?
I don't know SpaceX, but I want to believe eventually someone will. But terraforming theoretically it's possible. Yeah, you will increase the temperature. There are there are lots of carbon dioxide. There will be. I mean, you can terraform, of course, and then eventually there will be production of oxygen, and we know that there is water under the soil on that planet. So the conditions are done, but we need a spark to start this. But I don't think that it's gonna be near future. There's still a lot of things to do, especially flying a rocket to space. So I don't remember how many kilometers it was away from us. Even you can achieve to travel that distance, let's say in 50 years, and then you have to start a life there. You have to take your crew and technology developed in this planet. Even if you develop the technology here, can you adapt it there? There are lots of things to do. I don't know. Theoretically, it's possible, yes. Maybe we will not in need for that planet. I'm not sure. Of course,
Hmm.
there are many considerations because if we can achieve zero carbon dioxide emission. Maybe we will not need it, but of course the population is skyrocketing. That
I
will be
see.
another problem. Of course, you have to feed everyone. Everyone deserves a better life. So vision is very important. Maybe we can discover another,
On the way.
yeah, which doesn't require terraforming like Mars,
Yeah, maybe.
maybe. And then we need to develop other vehicles that can go as fast as, you know, like the satellite vehicles that are now traveling in the, not in the atmosphere, in the space. It should be fast.
Would you consider subscribing and using the Starlink internet?
I really want to. I was thinking last week, by the way, I saw someone purchased in Turkey, but he was saying that he can't use. I didn't know that, by the way.
You can purchase.
Yeah,
It's
but he can't use.
it's $9.
Really?
Yes, the
Wow.
starting price, but it's not arrived yet in Turkey.
I
It's
think
the
but he purchased. I don't know. Maybe he borrowed from some other countries, but he can't use it right now because there are
there's no
regulations.
coverage. There's no
Yeah,
coverage. Yeah,
maybe. I really want to use it.
that would be very amazing.
Yeah, I think it's way faster than the current internet speed, right?
That's what I heard. It's faster than anything that we so far experienced, and we have been experiencing a very good level of speed in our locations.
That's correct.
But yeah, I'm also very interested in that. I kept checking that if I can use it here in Egypt, but no, it's not. There's no coverage here yet. Also,
Yeah. Well, there's a question rising in here, So you are developing a new technology and you are also trying to transition to green energy to decrease carbon dioxide emission, let's say. But you're also kind of making pollution to space, right? But also
yeah.
making people's life easier. Of course, there will be another recycling process for that probably in the future. Maybe there is, which we don't know.
Hmm.
That's also a requirement.
So while we're around the topic, I just want to ask one more question around Elon Musk
Sure.
enterprise, and
Uh-huh.
then move on. Neuralink. I know that, yes, I know that you are fascinated by that.
Yeah.
I know you are a real fan of Lex Friedman. I know that you're following him talking with Elon Musk on this topic. And uh, tell me about it. What do you think is going on? Where do you think this is going?
I kind of I have one fear, which is this. Someday, for example, I I have something in my head physically, they implant it. Technically, I control my, neural link through a computer, right? What if that computer, which is always connected to me, is hacked?
Mhm.
And the worst thing is hacked by a cyborg. So basically, you are an organic AI, let's say, creature. I don't know. I might be thinking fantastic, not fantastic. It might be a fantasy. I don't know. But I see there's no problem currently. I mean, that's my fear, the accessibility. Let's make it simple. The accessibility is my fear. But other than that, it's very good actually because it can diagnose diseases before you have the symptoms. Or if you have if you are sick or you have a disease, and I think it can be very beneficial during the treatment because basically you are talking to your neural link. I mean, you can control. It's, I'm not, by the way, I don't know how it works exactly, but as far as I know, and it can, be controlled by computers. I don't know how remote, by the way. Of course, it's wireless, but by the way, the first prototype was wired or wireless?
The first prototype was what?
Wired or wireless?
It's a chip, it's wireless. There is a wire linked to the cortex with it inside, but there is no
Yeah,
wire
that I knew.
outside the skull. No, there is no
Okay,
wire.
okay, that's also interesting. I want to see it actually. I want it in my head, honestly.
What you gonna do with that?
I'm a guy who wants to experiment on himself. I'm not kidding, especially for technological stuff, not medications. I
What
don't
would
want
you
to.
want Neuralink to render to you?
Sorry?
What would you want Neuralink and whatever is going to provide to render to you and to your life as a service?
I
What do
actually
you
want
want
it
it?
just for fun, just
How
for
so?
fun. I want to, discover my neural link. If it's gonna provide me with this, then I love it. Why not? I can implant it to my head.
Like, if you have the ability to communicate beyond speech without altering anything, like
Yeah, I would give access only my doctor. Yeah.
I
So
was
he can
I was
remote with
listening
me.
I was listening to Alex Hormozy and Chris Williamson talking, and in one
Mhm.
point, Alex Hormozy is talking about some sort of a god who has the gap between his thoughts and his actions removed. So the moment that he thinks, his thoughts are. It may sound like a superpower,
Yeah, it is.
but then I thought I would never want such a thing because there are a lot of nonsense thoughts coming and going in our heads that we don't want them to realize, you know?
Yeah, let me see if I got it right. So you say yeah, let's think of a guy. He's implanted.
I mean,
His
I'm
thoughts.
talking about a god, but
Mhm.
of course, if we bring it back to the topic of the movie Lucy,
Yes.
that in the end she actually becomes some sort of a god.
Yes.
You remember in the end of the
Yeah.
movie that she
Yeah.
becomes like she's omnipotent, she's everywhere.
Yeah, but scientifically it doesn't make sense.
It, of
But I mean, it
course.
was, yeah,
I mean, scientifically,
good to see.
God topics never made sense, but that's the root of Marvel
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah. But let me get the point right. So you're saying you have a implantation in your head, let's say Neuralink, and you have thoughts, and you are trying to fill the gap between your thoughts and actions.
Yeah, so like I was talking about communication in
Okay.
specific. Look, so right now we are communicating through a lot of bandwidth and internet.
Yes.
So if this is limitless and it's in our head,
Mhm.
in order to talk with you, I don't need to make any sort of connection or online or video call. It's just enough for me to think and you are gonna hear me.
Mhm.
Most probably regardless of where we are. That's insane. And this is actually something that Elon Musk was talking about on the first podcast that he had with Joe Rogan. Is that this is something that sounds like something possible to have. It's just theoretically it's possible.
Holographic, you mean?
No, not holographic. I mean, the chip that you have in your head,
Yeah.
it has access to your cortex. So let's bring this topic to its ultimate.
Mhm.
So you have a Starlink internet with no limit of speed, so you can just use that internet, and you have that chip in your head, and you want me to know what you are thinking about.
So you are
I also
basically,
have the chip.
yeah, you are basically proposing a Black Mirror episode.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just
I know.
I'm not trying to make it as scary as Black Mirror, but uh, it is scary, right?
Of course. But somehow, yeah, I mean, it's scary, right? But somehow you want to say it, right? I want to, if I had a chance to say it for like, let's say like 5 minutes, I wasn't. I mean, why not?
Like experience it for 5 minutes?
Yeah,
It just go on LSD, man. Just you're gonna experience it for
yeah.
5 minutes.
Man, it would be very interesting,
It's
seeing
very interesting.
someone through, I don't know how to name it.
I mean, I'm quite sure as humankind that we are, we definitely have telecommunication abilities. We
Yeah,
think about each other, and then our friend texts us, and we say, "Oh, I was just thinking about you." I mean, there are things going on. I don't want to make it superstitious in some ways, but it sounds somehow superstitious. But it is by itself a very interesting topic. I really enjoy these topics. I really enjoy his
yeah,
talks with people, and I really enjoy that he's doing it like it's like the fantasy books are real.
yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, when I was a very young kid, my mom was buying us, my sister and I, Jules Verne books, and I was fascinated by them. And I was a kid and I didn't know anything. I didn't know that all of those fantasies are real now. We are living all of them. I didn't know that. But then they are funny now. They are even not fantasy. They are like
Yeah,
old school science that we had and we even don't use them anymore.
yeah,
So this also can maybe one day be an outdated technology.
yeah. There are this kind of stuff that you can't disprove. For example, simulation. By the way, your talk reminded me of it. Simulation. Elon Musk also says we live in a simulation. And then it makes that we are just a fracture of the whole simulation because we are developing technology and, you know, scientific achievements. And eventually, let's say we are able to create a simulation. We are already creating simulation for scientific research and applications.
Hmm.
And then if we are gonna somehow one day simulate human, and then in this simulation, it will all start from the beginning. A spark of light from the sky to the water on the ground, and then chemical reactions happen, and then a protein, produces, and then basically I'm talking about the evolution. And then people will evolve eventually, and then they will develop themselves, technological, scientific achievements, and then one day they will also create their own simulation. In that simulation, there will be another kind. So, are we already simulated by some, you know, highly advanced society, which are simulated by others? This question is always, tricky, and believe me, sometimes it keeps me, uh, you know, awake from sleeps.
Hmm.
I'm not kidding, by the way, because it's very fantastic. I mean, it's fun to think, by the way. So,
It is.
yeah,
It is amazing to think.
your that topic reminded me of this simulation as well.
There are many topic of sorts that they really bend my mind, and
Of
I cannot say that I don't enjoy it. I actually like
course,
to think about them.
because you're
Definitely.
seeking to see something you still haven't discovered. So it's funny to
Of
think
course.
you're enjoying it.
So I want to bring it back to the talk that we started with, and then finish this and then move to another topic.
Sure, yeah.
But years of studying academic science and beyond, and working in science and working in energy and business, what would you give to your 20 years old self as an advice?
Mhm.
You came and you studied in one of the most prestigious universities in Turkey. Amazing medium. There are hundreds of thousands of 19, 18, 20 years old out there that they are dreaming about this future and dreaming about this past. What is your advice for them?
Yeah, if I was talking to some of your examples, especially
Or
students,
to your 20 years old self?
yeah, that's actually better. Yeah, I would say that don't worry. I know you're having rough times dealing with a lot of things, classes, friends, family. Don't give up dreaming. You your dream will become true eventually. And unfortunately, this is for myself, by the way. By the way, I live in my dream. Truly live in my dream. But it's not as I expected, as I visioned, of course. It never happens, by the way. You also probably experienced it. So, in short, I would say that don't blame yourself. Don't hang on seriously on this, the things that take a lot of time during your academic times. For example, you're working hard. I know you want to achieve, everybody wants to achieve. Even if you can't, try again. Just don't give up on dreaming. Eventually, it will be true. And of course, you have to be consistent, even if you can't do specific things that, require to make your dream real. But of course, there will be aspects in another direction. Maybe, you will be happier than the first dream was you were thinking that it's gonna be great for you, but it's not always the same. Just don't give up. You will have rough times, by the way, honestly, but that's life. I mean, when you age, you understand these things.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think myself as my early university years that, I was fearing a lot. I mean, I had that fear of being nothing, not to achieve anything. I mean, still I have sometimes for future, of course, but now I realize that, and I know that nothing is gonna happen. You have to think positively, and of course, you will have rough times, but just don't give up. Eventually, you will achieve.
I always think and experience that when you were in your 20s, the amount of noise that you have in the back of your head is so high that you hardly can distinguish the signal from the noise. And what you are saying about stick to your dreams, don't give up, for me is the advice to, if you believe in the signal received, don't give it up for noise. The
Yeah,
noise is always there.
exactly, exactly.
Amazing.
And you know that it's actually very classic. Everybody will say, "Don't give up, don't give up." It's very classic, but it's fortunately it's true. I mean, you should stick to your dream. And life is hard. You also know. And maybe, I mean, I had a rough childhood, life, 20s, but yeah, that's all experience. And now I think I'm happy, but of course, dealing with other stuff, it will keep going, never end until you end.
Of course. What are your hobbies?
Currently or lifelong hobbies?
I mean, I know about one of your hobbies. That's one of my hobbies also, that we were enjoying it for years together.
Taking pictures.
Going for photography. That was amazing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I started this conversation with, and I always do, with admiring your consistency. But this consistency needs to be nurtured by some sort of recuperating time for yourself, which might be hobbies as simple as reading or just, I don't know, working focused and being so concentrated on the work that you do that it's actually boost your energy up again. Maybe the work is the hobby. Tell me, what are your hobbies?
Yeah, as you say, the first one is, I think, still is photography.
Hmm.
I enjoy a lot doing, using my camera and taking pictures of, especially portrait photography, by the way. I mean, I didn't start like this. I was more into scenes, natural scenes, and then kind of shifted to portrait photography, especially started from my friends, my family, and I think I took pictures of you as well. Yeah, the biggest one I think is photography, and then currently AI. Actually, I spend a lot of times, for AI. I try everything. Kind of, I am building my own AI. I can say, not basically on ChatGPT, of course. And rather than that, I sometimes swim, and yeah, there are not much hobbies for me now. Sometimes reading books, of course.
What sparked the interest in photography? How it
Sorry?
started? What sparked the interest in photography? How it started?
Yeah, I heard that. I mean, maybe 15 years ago, I heard the megapixel value of our eyes. I don't remember the value, by the way, the number. And then I saw that the cameras have these pixels. And then I was thinking that how about the old cameras? Now we have digital ones, but old cameras, you have a glass and then you see through it and then it captures the light. And how on earth it can convert the light to image? And then I figured out there's a chemical reaction basically on it. And then there are digitals, how they work. I was very interested in this, by the way, how they work. And I really wanted to have a camera. Yeah, 16 years ago. My first camera was Canon 350D, by the way. I think it's still, some people sell, some people buy. I still see it, by the way. It was a good one. Anyways, so I was thinking of these digitals, and then I discovered that there is sensor on it which captures light and then somehow in the background draws the picture. That was amazing for me, since I was always interested in technology, especially. Yeah, it all started discovering these things, and then I started taking pictures, and then I loved it. And then I was seeking the some competitions. By the way, I attended one competition here in my university. I still see these things, and sometimes I still go out and then take pictures. Now I don't have any camera, but thanks to friends, sometimes thanks to you, I found a camera and then take pictures. Still, that's kind of an escaping point for me, because you think that you work hardly. By the way, I'm saying it for you as well because you also work very hard, and then you became burnout, and then you have to escape to somewhere else from you, maybe sometimes physically. By the way, yeah, that's a escaping point for me, especially in nature. And if you have friends around and you are, you know, hanging with them, then I really want to take pictures of all the friends around me, and then maybe again and again to get the best portrait photograph.
So I know that you also are interested in photo editing, and I have seen your
Oh
artwork
yeah,
many times.
yeah,
And so photography, creative photo editing, and then you are in this field of science that you are. How do they meet? How sometimes they are blended? Would any creativity coming from photography enhance molecular design or something like that in the office when you're working, or in the lab when you're working on your project?
yeah. It's funny. I had to learn. It all started, especially photo editing, it all started for fun. I had pictures of my friends, and then I was making funny stuff on their pictures, that even, on my pictures. I don't know, I did for you. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Maybe I sent some. Anyways, it all started with fun, editing these pictures. And then I think I was about to submit my study to a journal. And then we needed a drawing, including molecules and the device, solar device. And then I started, okay, I'm doing funny stuff for my friends for pictures. And then I was watching YouTube videos to educate myself in this, editing stuff. And then I found that many scientists do this. Then I started, learning somehow and then adapted for my study and then draw chemicals in another software and then transfer them to photo editing programs. And then I found myself that I'm drawing cover pictures for people's published, articles. Now still doing the same thing, by the way. And then I started, by the way, 3D drawing as well. Currently, I'm using Blender. Probably you heard of it or you already know it. I'm still trying to develop myself.
You said you also use AI a lot,
Yeah,
and you're enjoying your own medium with ChatGPT.
exactly. I'm
Um,
educated while being educated, by the way.
mm.
I'm trying to develop it for myself.
So you are actually creating a database
Yeah,
of yourself on it, and then it gets back to you on different occasions that you ask questions and you need its assistance.
exactly. I tried this multiple times, by the way. I'm consistently giving inputs about my research, let's say my life, even my appearance, physical appearance. I gave a lot of information, and sometimes, probably 2 times a week, I ask current status of my research, my life, my physical appearance, and all the time, of course, it gives it doesn't give right answer, but very, very close to the right answer. And then, of course, then I see the gaps, then give other inputs to develop it. And now I started to use it as a calendar, by the way. I was saying that remind me this next week during we talk about this topic. It works, by the way. You can try. You can make it your personal assistant.
I never used it for like as a reminder. I didn't know that it works. So how does that work?
You have to log in. I mean, you
Hmm.
already logged in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't give you notifications. For
Uh-huh.
example, you say that remind me this tomorrow, and then you sleep, wake up, started your conversation, it will remind.
Oh, you start your like okay. Okay.
Anything. You can start with anything, but it will remind you.
I see. It's
Yeah.
it's like oh,
It's like personal
uh,
assistant.
it's like your Jarvis, like
Yeah.
Iron Man's yeah.
Yeah.
But you need to talk to it. Otherwise, it's not gonna
Yeah.
talk. It's not gonna remind you.
No,
Okay.
there's no notification. I mean, not yet.
Interesting.
Not yet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is your general take about it? What do you think about artificial intelligence in general? Large language models like ChatGPT,
Yeah. I
large video models like ChatGPT again, and Grok these days. What
yeah.
is your take? What do you think is gonna go, and how it actually affected your niche in academia and science?
I mean, it's contributed a lot to my visions, honestly.
Mm.
That's why I love it. I love AI. I don't use only ChatGPT, by the way. There's Microsoft Designer, especially for drawing stuff, and Gemini of Google. Yeah, right. Google Gemini and Copilot of Microsoft. They all are great softwares, by the way. Of course, they are developing themselves, but far behind the ChatGPT is the best to me. And I think every individual must know how to use, how to communicate with AI, because eventually they will have to.
Mhm.
And people sometimes are afraid of this, they will take over starting from their job. I mean, this is potentially true, but you have to know how to use it for your job, especially. And then, not for some specific jobs, of course, you don't have to fear of it. It will be great for your efforts and for your job because, for example, you remember I said that I started using it as personal assistant. You are drawn in your many, you know, jobs, let's say reports or papers. So you have to use it for make it easy for you. And then, especially if you're using for your job, for example, you want to see a drawing, let's say, you just put your words and it will draw everything for you. But there is a danger of using it as well. You can mislead, but this is personal, by the way. You can mislead it. For example, you are teaching something which is not correct, and then you forget it. In the future, it will tell that thing as it's correct. Then you can believe it, but it's not. So let's not say dangerous, but misuse, let's say. Yeah, misuse basically. And for AIs, for you said graphical things, right? Like videos or simulations. It's fantastic, by the way. One of my plans is actually that if I can learn efficiently how to use it, I want to, actually do let's say, my movie just by texting. Of course, then you have to gather different softwares to compile it to make a solid video. I mean, there are many samples right now on the market and social media. Probably have seen a lot. It's amazing, basically.
I mean, I experienced this step back by the professors in some departments in academia asking students not to use ChatGPT or do not ask ChatGPT to do their homeworks. And I know that it's going on also in high schools and uh, with younger
Yeah.
kids. What is your what do you think about somebody saying that? I mean, even a professor, don't use ChatGPT to answer my questions. What do you think about it?
I agree. I mean, it's basically cheating. You can't use ChatGPT to answer your professor's, teacher's questions, basically your homework, or if you are, you know, if you have a job to do for your mentor, you don't have to. I mean, you must not use it for cheating. It's basically cheating, but for learning, it's perfect. For example, you're interested in some other thing, you can learn it very easily, or even if your topics you can learn rather than cheating, it's perfect. You can use it. Why not? I mean, you can't say don't use ChatGPT for anything, but of course, for homework, I also don't suggest. I mean, it's cheating, basically cheating. And for this, I think there should be decoders. I don't know if there is any right now because maybe eventually there will be another AI to decode. For example, you gave an input. It may sense that it's AI based text. I don't know. But for cheating, of course, I don't like it as well. I mean, students shouldn't use it as a cheating equipment.
I see. So you see it as cheating, but you don't find it educational for them.
Specifically, for example, you have a task provided you by your professor, and if you are asking those questions to chat GPT, of course, it's cheating. Yes.
I mean, if a homework can be done by ChatGPT, does that worth my time for my development? I mean, if I am in a very good relationship with ChatGPT, that I'm using it as my imagine I am a 12-year-old boy. Like when you and I were 12, we didn't even have phones. We didn't. I mean, we were lucky if we had books
Yeah.
and notebooks.
Exactly.
But if you are a like 12 year, I'm saying that 12, 13-year-old boy or girl, like you know ups and downs of ChatGPT. You are born into this.
Yes.
5 years ago, you're going to start your, I don't know, college study. You're in university somehow. I can't imagine that any professor can stop you using ChatGPT.
Of course. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
Maybe
I find it stupid for people in academia asking. I mean, if you cannot give me a task that truly challenges my human mind, which can be solved by ChatGPT. I mean, it, I would rather not just I would rather just pass
I see. I see. Yeah,
because
professor.
because I experienced this last semester with a professor in the same university that we
Mm.
studied, the Middle Technical University. Like very aggressive on, oh no, just, you should not. And if we find it is okay, why are you trying to make crime out of it? There's no crime, and that's fine. I mean, Wikipedia was a problem when it came out. But people were asking not to use Wikipedia because, and now Wikipedia is the greatest encyclopedia out there. Everybody is using Wikipedia, and everybody is contributing to that, like large language models.
It's
Everybody is
not the
contributing.
same.
No, it's not the same. It's zillions of times greater.
Yeah, but it's exploitable. I mean,
It's
you can.
exploitable. I mean, my issue is with like I wrote an article about vulnerability and fear. So, and there was a very nice saying that I took from another article about vulnerability. It was saying that vulnerability is touching the hot stove, but fear is not going around it again. But the hot stove is amazing. It's doing a lot for me. But if I have the fear to not, like, I pick up a trauma like behavior, like you should not use ChatGPT. That's insane. What are you trying to teach?
It's not like this, man.
I mean, from my
Professor
experience, it was
knows.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a specific example. But professor knows if you're gonna use ChatGPT, you're gonna make ChatGPT do the homework for you. But you can learn things while you are doing your homework from ChatGPT. There's no problem.
Of course. I mean, I would rather ask the question, like give it as homework, and tell everybody to use ChatGPT, and then tell them what do they think about the answers.
Yeah, that's another homework for the student.
Right. I mean, you cannot ask ChatGPT a question and then chat ask ChatGPT what does he thinks or whatever pronoun that it has about its own answer. But of course you can, but then you need to think yourself. I mean, you need to come to the class as a, I don't know, 17, 20 years old girl or gal coming and say that I actually gave this question to ChatGPT and gave me this answer. And this I would love that answer to be different from my answer that ChatGPT gives me, considering the database that I created inside it from myself. I would love the answer being different from your answers. And then we can check them. And then we can, so there are many ways to enjoy that. But cutting it off altogether, it's a little bit funny for me.
Yeah,
Like as you said everybody should have an assistant on ChatGPT,
yeah.
which that makes a lot of sense to me.
Personally, I am trying to develop it for myself, as I said.
That's very wise.
Let's see.
Okay, so we covered many topics. We came from academia, science, ChatGPT, photography, hobbies we talked about, and the consistency in behavior and believing in your dreams. What are your usual beliefs and habits? How your day-to-day rituals are? How do you start your day? How do you end your day? If there is something that you are locked in day in, day out, do you have such a life ritual for yourself?
Currently, not a sustainable one.
And I'm not talking about a short period. I'm talking about a like long life, like years.
I see. I generally seek things that, can excite me all the time because I don't want to lose my excitement. Then it's gonna make my life monotonous. So from which I can't get any fun. I can't extract any fun. So always I need excitement. And
Hmm.
during the days and during, for example, this day, I was also seeking for some excitement. For example, if I can relate them with my work, this is basically on research. I do other stuffs for, you know, to see other topics. For example, I'm a, let's say, physicist because mainly I do physics right now. But sometimes I do search medical articles as well, psychology especially. Yeah, I need something different from the regular. So basically, I do different things to get my nerves excited all the time. And sometimes, of course, this might be swimming simultaneously. I wake up and then I want to go to swim and then I go. But generally, I have planned during the weekdays, planned everything, and then I follow them. Of course, it's not going to be forever like this. But new exciting things are always, attractive for me and find them attractive.
So you talk about sticking to the dream, not giving up.
Yeah,
And at a time being, you are leading a good number of researchers, students in their PhD, in their master's studies, that may sometimes think that about the whole process as a failure. Like it happened to us many times also. Can you tell me about a failure or a step back that in later stage in life, it built the ground for the success in your career or in your personal life?
yeah, it's funny actually. I I wasn't in university just right after my graduation from high school. I had to wait for 1 year. And still, you know, I got the exam for entry to university right after graduation from my high school. But my rank, believe me, I don't remember. It was terrible because I didn't have time to study. My father, got sick that year. So psychological things, economical things, and I didn't have enough time to study. And then as I said, I don't remember the number, but my rank was terrible. And then after graduation from high school, probably for 7 months, I took courses, private courses. Of course, I paid for them. And then I found myself here in this fine university. You know why I tell these two stories together? My failure and my greatest success happened the same year.
How so?
Just as I told, I I failed. My rank was terrible. After 1 year, I found myself in this university
Mm.
because at first place I didn't have right to um, select the university, and then after 1 year, I you know I selected this university. I think it was the second in the list, and then I got the exception.
How many years ago was that?
1 year,
No, no. In total, how many years ago? How many years ago is the story?
17, 17,
17.
17 years ago.
Wow.
17 years. Yeah.
Amazing. So, 17 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
I couldn't imagine actually, but this is life, man. I couldn't imagine, honestly, because around me, there was no anyone, you know. I mean, I don't want to say, or I'm not saying I succeeded this, but there were not people who can help me. I mean, who can advise. That was also bad, but yeah, it was rough time, but somehow I was lucky. And then my family support, of course. I was very lucky in those aspects. And then I found myself, yeah,
Okay. Mustafa, you had an amazing journey and a long, long way you have come. With
maybe.
all experiences, both in professional and personal. What is one that piece of advice or sentence or mantra or whatever that you picked up for yourself did you stick to out of the life experience that you had?
That's a very great question. And I was thinking about this, 2 days ago, probably. And, I was reviewing my whole life, the past and potential future based on my plans, let's say. I had a lot of things to think, and I think it would be this a sentence. If it's a sentence, it would be this: do the math for the future, not for the past. Yeah, because if you stick in the past, it will block your vision for the future, your potential, basically your energy and your motivation. You're killing yourself and you don't know this. You're not aware of this. And unfortunately, there's not anyone around you to let you know this. So just do the math for the future. Don't care anyone. I mean, of course, negative feedbacks from your friends. Yeah, just be yourself. I would say this because still there are many people, they know you are there, but they don't know who you are. And they really want to be at your current place. So just future, man. That's why when we are talking about time travel with my friends, they always ask me, which year would you go in the past? I always say not the past. I'm interested in the future because I know the past from the books. Of course, I didn't see it from the books, from online, but I don't know about the future. So why stick in the past? Of course, you should get experiences from the past, and then you have to adapt them to make, to plan, and to shape your future. It's valid for everyone, I think. Yeah, that would be this, I think.
Mustafa Yaşa, thank you so much
Thank
for the
you.
conversation.
Thank
That
you
was a
for the
great
invitation.
talk, as always, and that was a great time. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you for this chance. Actually, we are always talking about this stuff when we see each other, especially in the university, and we never recorded such thing. That's a good thing, actually. In the future, I will say that there is something I need to see with Kia, and we reviewed a lot of things and talked about a lot of stuff, so it will be fun.
I actually believe we have been recording them for a long time, but
That's
this is
it.
only the first time that we are recording it on another platform.
Yeah,
I had a great time with you for last 10 years of my life. I am very,
thank you.
very grateful of the time. I'm very, very grateful of the friendship. And I cannot imagine even my life, how would it be like without you in it.
Thank you so much.
So thank you
Same
for
here.
everything, man. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Take good care of yourself and hope to see you soon again.
You too. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Bye bye.